Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 190. Tesla is dominating in the European EV sales, but is also starting to catch up with unit sales, no matter powertrain. And in the US, Tesla's Model Y stood for about 1/3 of all EV sold in the country in Q2. And in China, Tesla continues to break new records and having the best-selling car model. And we have now come to the end of Q3 2023, so we should get some delivery numbers from Tesla tomorrow. And Tesla's market share is quite high when it comes to free cash flow. And Tesla shows off a new video with the progress of the Tesla's Optimus Robot. And the EU minister agrees to water down the Euro 7 emission rules. And BMW is testing out their new hydrogen car. But by the looks of it, it won't be very good. All of this and much more in today's episode. Let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
Tesla is dominating in the European EV sales, but it's also starting to catch up to the old legacy automakers in unit sales, no matter powertrain. I did report last week how Tesla's Model Y in August became the best-selling car model in Europe for the 5th time out of 8 months. And of course this means that Tesla Model Y is dominating the EV market in Europe as well. The Model Y sold more than 3 times as many units as the runner-up, which is still the Tesla Model 3. And this is without the refreshed version. I bet we will see the Tesla Model 3 staying at the number 2 spot as the refreshed Model 3 comes to Europe in mid-October. But also, in the overall car market, the Model Y is the best-selling car in Europe. 8 months of the year only grew in sales by 219%. And Tesla is still by far the leading brand in Europe. The runner-up is the Volkswagen brand, but they are a whole BMW behind Tesla. As you can see, BMW, Mercedes, Audis are all less than 1/3 of Tesla's volume in Europe. If we combine the big 3 premium brands, they still sell less EVs than Tesla does. But Tesla is still pushing hard with their Berlin factory, spitting out Model Ys into the European market, and we have a ship with the refreshed Model 3 coming to Europe, expected to arrive in the middle of October. So Tesla continues to grow here in Europe, while Volkswagen is officially saying that they will suspend production of the ID.3 and the Cupra-born electric car at its Zwickau and Dresden plant in Germany in the first 2 weeks of October due to weaker demand, a spokesperson for the car maker said on Tuesday. And as I reported last week, the Dresden plant might close the EV production altogether, but nothing official on that yet. So Volkswagen is still seeing demand problem for the EVs, while Tesla just continues to grow. And in Europe, Tesla is actually getting close to become a bigger car company than Ford is here in Europe, as Tesla did sell more units in August than Ford did. Not EV, but cars in general. And as you can see on this chart, this is the 2nd time this year Tesla outsells Ford in Europe. Very impressive. And year to date, Ford is still beating Tesla, but as you can see on this chart, Tesla is catching up quickly. And Ford is actually losing market share on a global scale as well, as we saw BYD actually became a bigger car company than Ford in August. And this is likely to continue as BYD is growing very fast. Remember how many of the so-called automotive analysts said that Tesla would fail in Europe because of all the competition here? Well, the biggest competition in EVs is Volkswagen, and they are slowing down because of weak demand. And Tesla is gaining on someone like Ford to become a bigger automaker in Europe than they are. Yeah, Tesla is doing extremely well here in Europe. Here in my country, Tesla has just surpassed 50,000 vehicles in Denmark. And because we are a very small country, this means that 2% of all vehicles on Danish roads are now Teslas. Very impressive. And I will bet you guys watching are spending a fair amount of time online on your connected devices. I know I am. My job is being on a computer all day. And when I'm not working, I might be streaming some entertainment on some of my other smart devices. And all my personal data is in my smartphone. And that is why VPN is a very good thing and why I have partnered up with today's sponsor, NordVPN. Because VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and private being the key word there. A VPN will encrypt internet traffic and hide your IP address and your virtual location, so it will boost your privacy and security online, which is much needed these days. And a VPN protection makes hacking close to impossible. So for me, this is one of the most important things about a VPN provider, to get that peace of mind that all my data and online activity are secure. Because NordVPN does much more than just change your IP address so you can watch Netflix wherever you are and get more contents. It blocks malware, it stops intrusive tracking, blocks intrusive ads on the spot, and it has always-on cybersecurity. So even if you're not connected to the VPN server, it still protects your online browsing. And the user interface couldn't be any simpler. You just click the country you want your IP address to be at, and that is it. Couldn't be any simpler. If you want to check it out, and you should if you care about your online privacy and security, NordVPN has a great deal for you. If you click my link down below, sign up for a 2-year plan, you will get additional 4-month included. And it's risk-free with Nord's 30 days money-back guarantee. So click my link down below to get started today, and a big thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. But Tesla's EV domination in Europe, of course, pales in comparisons to Tesla in the US, where Tesla's Model Y stood for about 1/3 of all EVs sold in the country in Q2. This is simply just insane. One model that stands for 1/3 of all sales. And if we throw in the Model 3, those two models are more than half of all EVs sold in the US in Q2. But the competition is nowhere to be found. Not anywhere near Tesla sales anyway. But it is not like the EV market is not growing, because it is. BEV sales in the US has just hit the volume of last year's sales in the US with only 8 months here in 2023. This is especially encouraging in terms of increasing growth from a higher base. In 2022, year over year, BEV volumes jumped up by 59% from about 460,000 to about 730,000. So a big jump in 2022, and should make it harder to make the same kind of percentage growth here in 2023 as we start from a much higher base. But in fact, current growth rate after 8 months of the year are even higher than in 2022 at 65%. So yes, the EV adoption continues to grow faster and faster as more and more people get into an EV and realize how much better they are than the old dinosaurs of the ICE cars. And even though we have been hearing about the so-called competition for about a decade now, Tesla sold more than 58,000 cars in the US in just August, according to the consultancy Motor Intelligence. That would give Tesla a market share of 59%, dwarfing other BEV pure plays like Rivian with 4,600, Polestar with 1,259, and Lucid with 598. So after 2 years of production ramp, Lucid has grown to 598 units in a month. No wonder that they just opened a new factory in Saudi Arabia, as this first factory is running to the brim with about 600 vehicles a month. Yeah, they still have a long way to go. What Lucid delivered in a month in the US, Tesla does in about 7 to 8 hours in the US alone. Even Elon tuned in on X saying, "The competition is coming." And even though Rivian's numbers look small compared to Tesla, Rivian is actually a top 8 EV brand in the US, even beating someone like Audi. But no one is getting even slightly close to Tesla's number, making you wonder what all of those billions of dollars in EV investments is going into. So far, not production and high volume of EVs, even though they are all trying to ramp up and doing so. As I showed before, the cumulative sales of BEVs continue continue to grow faster and faster. This is an exponential growth rate we are witnessing. Like we saw on this chart, it took 10 years to reach the first million BEVs sold, then 2 years to reach the next million EVs sold, and 1 year to reach the last million. How we can still see people saying EVs will die or are not the way to go are really not paying attention to what is happening in the market right now. The customers has already spoken. EVs are the future. ICE car is dying, and nobody wants hydrogen cars. Yes, if we need to find some true competition for Tesla, we have to go to China. But even here, Tesla sets new sales records and has the best-selling car of any kind. As Roland wrote on Twitter, typically the Model Y is the top-selling car model in China only in the last month of quarter. This quarter, it did so in August, the second month of the quarter. And it was not even close in August, as the Model Y reached 50,955 sales, and the second model, the BYD Quang Plus, came in with 36,734. There is a good chance that the Model Y will become the best-selling vehicle again in September, as it has already sold about 31,000 vehicles in September, with 1 week left to go. This would be the first time that in 2 consecutive months, so that would be another new record for Tesla. And year-to-date, Tesla's Model Y is still the best-selling car of any kind in China. So I think it's safe to say we can kill any myth about Tesla having demand problem in China, as they have the best-selling car in the country, for crying out loud. And do you remember back when Tesla built the factory and Lena Lopez said if Tesla could sell over 300,000 EVs in a year, they might have a chance to survive in China? Well, the Model Y all on its own will do that this year. It is already year-to-date, including August, closing in on the 300,000 mark. So with 4 months left to go, we should even get above 400,000 Model Ys sold in China in a year. If you go back just 4 years, most automotive analysts would have thought this was impossible for Tesla to do this. But Tesla continues to execute and beat Wall Street and the automotive analyst expectation. And we can see that year to date, they are already on par with last year's total sales numbers in China. So with 3 months left to go, we should see a very nice sales record in China again this year. And we have now come to the end of Q3 2023, so tomorrow we should get deliveries and production numbers from Tesla. But the numbers are all over the place this time around. According to FactSet, analyst consensus for Tesla's Q3 2023 deliveries is 462,000 units. So they expect them to be slightly down in Q3 compared to Q2, but this is also the expectation Tesla told us to have, as they have a lot of production downtime because of the production line upgrade for the new Tesla Model 3 and so on. Troy Tesla, I think it would be about 442,000 units. Jamie is in the same area, but I have seen estimates even as high as 493,000 units, but also as low as 420, and someone like Gary Black think it will be about 440,000. I personally think it will also be a bit lower than Q2, as the Shanghai factory must have felt some lower production numbers because of the new refresh Model 3 production getting ready. And we do see that the deliveries in China from the insurance number Roland is putting out, that domestically Tesla is about 5 to 10,000 units behind Q2. But we don't see like 20 or 30,000 drop in domestic sales, but we could have a lower export number. But the production numbers I have set for the Texas and Berlin are also only slightly up, so not a big gain there either. So I do also expect Tesla to be just slightly under the Q2 numbers, maybe about 455,000 units. We could be off with the delivery numbers, of course. As we do know, Tesla has about 100,000 cars in transit or inventory, so even though there might be downtime in production in China, they might still be able to get the amount of cars delivered as their car is out there, but Tesla might decrease in the amount of the inventory cars they have. So Tesla could still surprise us on the upside on deliveries, but I don't think so. But no matter what, it will still be a very good quarter with over 440,000 units delivered or something like that. I know we are used to see Tesla beating every single quarter as they have done for many years, except Q2 last year when there was a lockdown at the Shanghai factory because of COVID. So to have one quarter being flat or even a little below last quarter is quite all right, especially because Tesla has already warned us this would happen, and we know why this is happening. Because Tesla is introducing a brand new version of the second best-selling EV on the planet. That will, of course, without a doubt, leave a little bump, shutting down just one of that car's production lines. But we only have to sleep one more time to get the answers to see what Tesla ended up in Q3 2023. But let me know what your guess is down below so we can see if anyone nails the deliveries and production numbers. Tesla shows off a new video of the progress of Tesla's Optimus Robot, and the pace of innovation at Tesla is just mind-boggling. I did make a whole video about it, so if you want to dive deeper, check that video out. But even a senior AI scientist at NVIDIA was very impressed with the bot and what it was able to do. As he said, it is such a great decision to follow human morphology closely, so there is no gap in imitating humans. Atlas from Boston Dynamics only have simple gripper-style hands. In the long run, Optimus Biotexture's 5-finger hands will prove far superior in daily tasks. Yep, don't listen to the Wall Street or automotive analyst about the robot as they know nothing about it. Listen to experts in the field, like this guy, and they are impressed with the progress. And some people thought it was CGI and not real. Look, it invented horizontal gravity. But James also showed kids that had invented horizontal gravity. So this is just stupid. But as the AI expert also shared on X, I am seeing people saying Optimus video is CGI. That is actually the highest compliment you can possibly give to a robotics research team. I crave for one of my works to be labeled CGI. It is not magic and does not need to be. But it also just shows us how far Tesla has come, that many people can't even believe it. They have to label it as cheating or CGI. But the people in the field, like the AI scientist, knows this is the real thing and think what Tesla has achieved is amazing. The Tesla bot is slowly starting to get some recognition in the AI and robotics industry. Very nice, and can't wait to learn more. And let's get our monthly update about Tesla's Giga Factory. That means handing it over to Brian from My Tesla Weekend. Take it away, Brian.
Hey Lars, well let's do a slightly extended version this month for Slap Nation because there's so much to cover and we're going to hit more sites than ever before, starting in Fremont. The recycling area has never looked tidier, that's something, but the big news there is that the area where the casting expansion is going has its foundation in. 10 feet of concrete, that should do the trick. In Nevada, we have footage. What we don't have is progress. Panasonic and Tesla have not yet broken ground. In Shanghai, there's just no footage at all. We have to kind of figure out what's going on, but the land is full, so there's probably nothing to show. In Berlin, we've got a lot. The northeast area has a building for recycling. The first one's done. The second one is almost done. The third one may be done at some point, or it may be open air. The logistics lot, also in the northeast, has expanded, with some of it already in use. The road to the south of the factory is already in, done, open, complete. The rail station, for that matter, the transit station for employees, also open, also famously so. The employee parking lot is paved. The bridge to the south of the factory is nearing completion with off-ramps and all that. And the cyber entrance is shaping up nicely. Looks real fancy. And they've even added bicycle shelters for commuters to park their bicycles slightly less out of the rain. In Texas, there's new loading docks along the east. The southeast windows have been removed, and they're walling up the inside openings to keep it nice and dry. And the south extension has been finished-ish, painted. It's even getting wall studs, and the roof is on. The cyber entry is looking so good. It's got the black stone glass, it's got the stainless steel, it's got planters, it's got plants, it's got benches. The southeast grading continues, where the parking structure will go. The crash hall continues, and it's even a little bit in use already. That's very cool. The windows and drain work are continuing in this area, and the northeast, the far northeast, the grading continues there. Perhaps they're going to put something in at some point, or maybe they're just using the dirt. The vault next to the switchyard is complete, and switchyard work continues. The megapacks, no further along, probably just waiting for connection. The intersection of Tesla Road and Farm to Market 973 has been getting a lot of work. Expansion along Tesla Road, and now expansion along Farm to Market 973 as well. On the far west, we got some fun. There's the big old slab that is now a building. It's got steel, it's got a roof, it's got walls, it's got concrete, it's got everything it needs. They just got to finish closing it off and put some stuff inside. They've also been doing more drain work, more grading, and even grading the land all the way further to the west. Very exciting. So much earthwork. And in Mexico, well, there's still no movement, but now at least we have footage to show that there is no movement, and we have footage to show that the actual size of the property. Pretty exciting. In Corpus Christi, Joe got out there. He was able to see that even though we thought it was just a bit of dirt, no, it's been graded. It's got sprung structures that are already containing material, perhaps offices. They've got concrete cores to buildings going up. It's all very exciting. They've even got giant ponds for filtration, sedimentation, who knows? It's all very exciting. And of course, there's a much longer version of this on my channel. But anyhow, back to you, Lars.
Thank you so much for that update, Brian. See you next month. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this new show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. Elon shared a picture of the finished entrance for the Giga Texas factory, looking very nice, almost like a plaid pattern. And speaking of plaid, we have seen some leaked documents from the European type certificate from the Dutch RDW relating to the new Model 3 performance that are missing in the new lineup, slated for introduction into the European market. And the leaked documents indicate that we might have a very nice plaid Model 3 refresh coming. But I did make a whole video about this, so if you want to learn more, check that video out, link down below. And we got one more offering from the competition, the Kia EV9, a big SUV. But when we compare what you can get for that price with Tesla, it does not really stack up. So the competition is still trying, but unfortunately they just don't seem to be able to come up with something that can really match Tesla's performance and price. And Nissan has changed its goal in Europe. The goal is going to be fully electric in Europe by 2030, and that brings Nissan in line with the alliance partner of Renault. But we have not seen much from Nissan so far. The Leaf is getting sacked and the new Nissan Arai is not getting good reviews, so they really have a long way to go to get to a 100% electric future by 2030. But it's nice to see some commitment to the goal from a Japanese automaker. As Nissan CEO said, we are at the tipping point of adoption for EVs. There is no going back to ICE. Nissan will make the switch to fully electric by 2030 in Europe. We believe is the right thing to do for our business, our customers, and for the planet. Very nice. Now only the hard part left, execution. And Ford said on Monday it has paused works on its $3.5 billion electric vehicle battery plant in Michigan, citing concerns about its ability to competitively operate the plant at a time when it remains locked in border contract negotiations. Yes, the UAW is making sure Ford's EV plans will be delayed, if not killing Ford altogether, as Elon also wrote on X. But CATL actually wrote that this was a lie, as everything was still progressing smoothly for the factory, that they are building together with Ford. So no matter what, everything seems kind of a mess right now, and the big boys is going to be hurt no matter what. But the UAW is not helping, as they said. This is shameful, barely vile threat by Ford to cut jobs, Fain said. Closing 65 plants over the last 20 years wasn't enough for the big three. Now they want to threaten us with closing plants that are not even open yet. We are simply asking for a just transition for electric vehicles, and Ford is instead doubling down on their race to the bottom. Yes, and now forced by the UAW to take the fast lane to the bottom, as Elon puts it. Seems like Tesla will not have any competition left in the US when this war between the UAW and the legacy automakers are over. And smartphone maker Huawei has partnered with the Chinese-owned Chery Automobile on the electric vehicle brand Luxeed, set to unveil its first vehicle in the coming months. The brand will debut a Tesla Model S rival near the end of November, according to the company executive. But Tesla does not have anything Toyota doesn't have. So why is it they always talking about what Tesla has and not rivals like BZ4X or the BMW i4, Mercedes EQS? Yeah, we all know who is leading the race and why everyone wants to be compared to Tesla's cars and not to GM's Cadillac Lyriq. But as we have seen so many times before, making a prototype is the easy thing. But Huawei is getting help building this car from Chery, so the car will basically be a Chery Auto E0X with some Huawei tech inside. So let's see how well this EV will do in the otherwise saturated EV market in China when it comes to the amount of EV manufacturers. And some news about Lucid. They just got some real good workforce to join them, as Corey from Monroe Live has started to work as a director and will be assistant chief engineer mid-size. So hopefully Corey can help Lucid become a profitable car company, or his journey to this company might be very short-lived as their survival is still up for debate. I personally don't think they have a long way to go before they have to file for bankruptcy, especially because they don't want to join Tesla's charging network, and we have just seen Out of Specs with Dave sell his Lucid Air because of bad charging experience. It might have the longest range and fastest charging speed, as Lucid also just made an add-on on X, but when the charging doesn't work and can't deliver the kind of power, it really doesn't matter. And Dave said he really felt range anxiety with the Lucid because of this, so he sold his car, and he also showed us just how bad and laggy software the Lucid Air has. Not what you would expect for a $160,000 car. Hope Curry can help Lucid get on the right path very quickly, or he might have to find a new job once again. And Elon continues to meet with literally every world leader there is. This week he met up with Katalin Novak, the president of Hungary. Yep, everyone wants to talk to Elon, but wonder why they don't want to talk to Mary, as she was leading and it mattered, right? And Tesla update this nice charging station in Kolding in my country of Denmark to become a 40-stall station, all 250 kilowatt chargers. Very nice. And I know many have talked about the unique design of the station, but that is not Tesla's doing. This is just how this parking lot has looked for the last 20 years. Tesla has just put up charging stalls at the parking lot, making it look very unique. But yes, these white stalls with the chargers being on the side and not straight behind the parking spot would definitely be preferable for something like the Cybertruck. So Elon, please, get the Cybertruck over here. Look, we got the stalls for it. And Alex shared a little post on X showing the legacy automaker's big problem. An Audi e-tron is asking for an oil change and inspection. I tweeted a similar picture a year ago, and I actually shared that picture as well in my news show back then, but this is today in 2023. The e-tron has been in production since 2018, and the problem is 6 years later not fixed. Should I mention that the e-tron in the picture cost more than 100,000 euros? This is just so embarrassing and showcase very well the trouble the old guys are having, and I am still seeing people talking about how it's all about building a good car, not about software. Well, I would say then you really don't understand that it's the smart car that is winning and disrupting the industry, not the electric vehicle on its own. That is exactly what we're seeing in China. The old guys have pretty much already lost that market to the Chinese and Tesla because their software sucks. Not because they didn't build a decent car, they did. And this picture is just such a perfect showcase of how far behind the old guys are. They are still relying on their old school software running their EVs. Just like Alex also showed with the Volkswagen's awesome software in their ID family. and the EU minister agreed to water down the Euro 7 emission rules after pressure from the auto industry and 8 countries, as Italy, France and Czech Republic and 5 other states pushed for a weaker rule on concern that the proposed limits on pollutants such as nitric oxide in combustion engines would divert development work and investment away from EVs. Just make more EVs and you would not have this problem altogether, and your nasty polluting ICE cars would not be driving around in our city polluting the air we breathe. But as Transport and Environment has said, as long as there is a tailpipe, the automakers will cheat. Take away the tailpipe and they cannot cheat. And not pollute the air, I might just add. But it does not change anything. EV adoption in Europe is happening incredibly fast, so EVs will take over eventually and sooner than the politicians think. And Cybertruck launch team apparel is being handed out to employees working at the launch team, of course, so it looks like the event is closing in. And we got a little video showing Lars being in China to help the development of the refreshed Model 3, and we learned that not only is it being built in China first, but it was also mostly designed by the Chinese team altogether. And Lars was very exciting that he got a second chance to design the Model 3, as he was one of the engineers that worked on the original Model 3. Can't wait to get a chance to test drive it in October, stay tuned for that. And even though Tesla only sits on 1.9% of the car market, Tesla actually sits on 6.8% of the free cash flow of the car market. That is just very impressive. So looking at Tesla's last 12 months up to June, they still have almost 7% of all free cash flow in the car market, even with all the price cuts over the last 6 months of that period. Hope this will show people just how great Tesla is doing, and Tesla being able to make these price cuts comes from a position of strength, not weakness. And the hydrogen car just keeps digging its own grave deeper and deeper. Remember how BMW CEO said that the hydrogen car would be the next hip thing? Well, Kyle from Outer Specs Review took the BMW iX5 hydrogen car for a test drive in New York City. And by the looks of it, it won't be very good. A short New York drive revealed that the iX5 hydrogen has a real-world range of just 94 miles, 151 kilometers on half a tank. So filled up to the brim, you could get around 190 miles, or 306 kilometers. Of range on a full tank. This is kind of embarrassing. Even some of the worst BEVs on the market will beat that real world range. And with the lack of infrastructure for the hydrogen car and hydrogen station even being pulled down because they are financially unsustainable, make range anxiety in the hydrogen car reach peak highs. BMW should abandon this sinking ship before it pulls them down. And the bad news for Volkswagen continues as an IT malfunction paralyzed the Volkswagen central infrastructure on Wednesday. Production in several plants was at a standstill. It's still unclear what led to the failure and the extent of the problem. So bad software is not only in their cars but also in their factory apparently. The problem has been solved but the cause remains unclear. So yet another slowdown in the production for Volkswagen. First it was because of missing parts, then because of missing demand, and now because of missing IT infrastructure. What will be the next? Oh yeah, we already have one. In the US, apparently there is a lack of railway wagons for the transport of Volkswagen vehicles produced in their Mexican plant. The finished cars are piling up and cannot be delivered to dealers in the US. Oh, so many problems for the Volkswagen Group. And I know many outlets have been reporting on Tesla already using single giga casting in the Shanghai factory in production. But I can't find this anywhere. They do mention a single casting once in this article, but then they continue to talk about the rear and the front casting. So not sure what is going on here. Maybe the 40% cost they're talking about in reduction is because of the front and the rear casting, not the single casting. But I personally don't think Tesla is already using a single giga casting in Shanghai. But I would of course like to be proven wrong on that one. But let's see what happens. And one of Tesla's semi-truck covered 1,076 miles in one day in the Run for Less event. The Tesla semi-truck running in the Run for Less program are driving slip-seat long-haul transport routes. Slip-seating is the method in which drivers share a truck, and it has totaled 90,122 miles since the start of the program on the 11th of September. Approximately 65% of the driving during the first 2 weeks of Run on Less was loaded to a cross-vehicle weight plus load of over 70,000 pounds. Per PepsiCo, the Tesla semi-trucks demonstrate the capability of megawatt charging in transport operations, enabling slip-seat continuous transportation capabilities with an electric vehicle. Yes, the semi-truck is truly showing the world there is no need for ICE or hydrogen trucks. Tesla semi-truck can do it all for less money and less emission. And more good news for the Tesla semi-truck, as a decision to allow a wider truck's bodies paved the way for electrification of big rigs in Australia. And I hope we will also see laws changing in Europe so a truck like the semi-truck can be allowed to drive over here as well, without Tesla having to redesign it for the European roads. And Tesla break grounds on his futuristic diner with drive-in theater and supercharger. Can't wait to see this one when it's all done. And before we end up with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to my newest patrons and members of this new show. My two new members, Brian Manchester and XL's Board or something like that. And my new Patreon producer, Lorne Lappan. Thank you so much for all your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this new show. Thank you. And the supporter of the week winner t-shirt is still out of stock, so we will get back to that hopefully very soon. So instead, let's end off with a bit of fun. A little showcase of Tesla versus GM in the US EV race. GM can do everything Tesla can. Just watch. That is all we have time for in this new show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot so others can find it on YouTube. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And don't forget, if you want to become an executive producer and get some news articles during the week, some exclusive videos, access to all my research, charts and spreadsheets, head over to Best in Tesla and join with the members button. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support, and if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel and get your shout out on this show. You can also become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out and some extra perks. Hit the members button to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I tweet all the news as it comes out and more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. Now it's also possible to support the show without buying anything, becoming a member or a patron. There is a link to a donation options in the show notes. And also as simple as hitting the super like button. But going forward, I will be making more videos for patrons and members only. And I will give my YouTube members and patrons early access to my videos whenever possible, and make my videos ads free for members and patrons only. So don't miss out. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.